Yep. Well, I'm glad you made it in this time. And in fact, I don't know if you've been listening or at all this morning, sort of following along. We replayed your webinar this morning.
That's what I was told by Milbian that might happen.
Yep, so we did. So all about future-proofing your practice. So for those who missed it before, we're going to play it again actually later in the data to close things out today. But maybe you could just give everybody a little bit of background about what it was all about, because it was kind of a cool story about your practice.
Yeah, so again, kind of very briefly, our practice started out with, I guess if you will, the guise of strictly an optical, with not even having a doctor's side at all. And from there, we kind of have grown as the need arose, if you will, to slowly add more doctor, then more doctor and more doctor. And we're now transitioned to where I would say the majority of the practice is actually the doctor's side. And we had to kind of grow with that. And when we were making decisions on what to do and how to do it, we could have gone very, I guess, standard mode in what we all learned on, or try to go with the technology and move into the future. And we decided to go with the Luno technology and the Vionics materials, and we've never looked back. It's been great for us, and we're still full bore in it, and we love it.
Excellent.
And Jordan, can you tell everybody a little bit more about your practice? You're director of eye care in Chicago. Are you downtown?
So we actually have two locations. We have a downtown location right in the heart of River North, so right kind of in the hip, trendy areas of downtown. And then we also have one in the southwest suburbs in Orland Park, Illinois, which is about 30 minutes, give or take, southwest of the city. And, it's different there. It's kind of a unique practice in the sense that we have two very, very different practices. One that is very much a family practice. That's the southwest suburb ones that everyone can imagine. And then one that's kind of your, more modern, younger, professional, urban practice. So we get kind of a nice mix of everything in the Chicagoland area.
Very neat. And so actually, I see that Melissa has arrived. Melissa, are you there?
Hi, Adam. Hi, Jordan.
How's it going?
Hello.
So, Melissa, you're the one who's actually responsible for a lot of the setup and care and feeding and hand-holding on all these systems, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with Jordan, he just texts me whenever he needs something, and if it's something I can take care of, I take care of it for him. And if not, I get him in touch with my IT guys who fix things for him if he needs stuff. So.
Right. And in terms of implementation, so Jordan's got two locations that you had to worry about, right? So how does that actually work? You just go from office to office, set each one up individually, or do you do a mass training? How does that go?
So my IT guys go out and they actually set up the devices. And then Jordan, because he runs the device himself, and then his doctor in Chicago, she runs it herself. I mean, they were really easy to train. I mean, one day. Because he already knew, because he has our digital 4-opter too. And then the 120, he also was our beta tester, the very first 120 dry eye we had in the United States. So he was giving me feedback on what he thought about the features and things like that. And he's getting ready to beta test my new digital 4-opter, the 65, because I have new software coming out. So he's going to be doing that here later on this month.
Nice. Yeah, actually, let me pull it up on the screen so people can see what we're talking about. A little bit. So talking about the different devices. So there we go. There's the 65. And you mentioned one important feature, the fact that you can do a lot of this stuff online, which is sort of like the brave new world. And I guess as COVID unfolded, that was probably a very useful thing for you personally, right?
For me, yes, absolutely. I mean, Jordan wants me to come down. In fact, I'm going to go down. One, because I want to see his new baby, and two, because I'm going to teach him how to do it remotely, use the devices remotely. So that is actually something we're going to be working on here.
Excellent.
Okay, just to clarify for me, Dr. Steve Silverberg, the device is remote, but the patient's on the device, the doctor's remote, correct? It's hard to get them in all the homes.
Yeah,
that would be correct. Yeah.
Yes, that's fantastic. So you can work from you can have one facility, the device could be there, and you could have 3 or 4 or 5 offices all working off of the same device and going into electronic health records, etc. Fantastic.
Yep. And I had a question for you, Jordan. We had a webinar here with Dr. Greg O'Connor, I guess it was 2 weeks ago now, where he also implemented, the systems, and he's sort of delegated his refraction now. and he's kind of let it go. And I know this has been an interesting issue and a huge debate for people. Is this something that you do as well in the practice, or do you basically still handle all of it yourself?
So I still handle all the refraction. And again, I would say that for me, I'm the guy who organizes my closet color coded. So from that standpoint, I like to have the control of the detail orientation of that side of things.
Right.
And I feel, that the final step of that refraction, I feel like, and again, this is probably an arrogant thing, but I feel like I can do better if I'm in there with the person than, just kind of delegating or doing a quick once over. But I do feel like with the technology that we have, it's fine tuning. As I always tell people, I mean, my general spiel when I run through and I run my VX120 on everyone, I'm saying basically what I'm getting is I'm getting the tailored measurements right now. I know your hip measurement, your waist measurement, chest measurement, everything else. From those measurements, I can make a suit for you, However, if I were to be the tailor and make that suit, you might still say that's a little tight, or I want it a little bit loose here, or wherever it is. We take that and then we let them, with the subjective aspect of it, kind of massage the data. But you already know pretty much bang on what you need right off the jump,
Right.
So I think you absolutely, if you wanted to, without question, if you weren't the guy who color coordinated your closet, could delegate that out and have very good faith that you're getting good results and not have remakes and everything else that goes with that.
Yep. Yeah, there's a degree of flexibility I think you have, right? Because I'm sure some people would do it half and half as well, right? If you actually get slammed, knowing that you could actually, rely on your techs to do this reliably is a really good thing.
Absolutely. Well, and I think, again, on the webinar that will be replayed later, we kind of chatted about that the first time, that our River North location and the urban location, we are going to more pre-test model, and Dr. Natalie is, kind of having someone grab data and then she's fine tuning at the end, versus me and our suburban location right now, where I'm doing it all in one room, and it is me doing everything, collecting the data and interpreting and then fine tuning everything as well. But, we have kind of two separate models that we're testing and kind of seeing and trying to figure out, again, and adapt and move forward and try to figure out what is the best for us and what's the best for the patients, and, kind of just see the system. But it does give you a lot of flexibility on however you want to manage your own practice. You can do it.
Yep, absolutely. And I have up on the screen again, I'm showing off the 120 plus, and I don't know, maybe Melissa, you could just sort of review the different models, because the numbers sound similar, but the devices are actually different, right?
Yeah. So the 120 that he has, all the 120 and the 130 are our most popular models. The differences between them is the 120 has the dry eye module, and the 130 has a posterior cornea view. But they both have refraction, pupils, day and night, topography, Ks, pachymetry, non-contact tonometry, and pressure adjusted for cornea thickness. And you've got anterior chamber depth. So pretty much all of your anterior segment. So it just depends on which model, applies. I mean, a lot of ODs now are going into dry eye more. So the 120 right now is pretty popular.
Right. And the user interface is pretty similar across the devices?
Across all of them, yeah. It's super easy. I mean, literally, you type in the patient's first name, last name, date of birth, and then you get their eye centered on the touch screen and hit go. And then all the tech has to do is literally just keep the patient engaged with the testing. It takes about 90 seconds for both eyes.
Wow. Do you find that if you have a multi-doctor office with multiple lanes, et cetera, that after they get one device, they have to just keep on equipping all the offices, all the lanes with the same, just because doctors get jealous and all this such cool technology?
Yeah, actually.
It's funny that sorry, Melissa, I didn't mean to step over your toes there. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go for it.
I was going to say that it's interesting that you say that, because we did that exact thing, Doc. We started in our downtown location with the technology, and I was the doctor that was going back and forth between locations, and I was jealous of myself. So I very quickly said, okay, now that I have this here, there's no way I can sit there and do manual Ks and, reach over on a phoropter and do everything that I was doing down. Like every time I would go to the suburbs, I was just jealous of myself being in the city. And we very quickly said, okay, we're doing this in the second location right away. So I think there is definitely jealousy even amongst yourself.
Yes, it's understood. I, many years ago, bought an older more basic digital refraction system and had it in one room and had two other rooms with conventional stuff, and quickly equipped all three rooms because it just we go from room, you know the process either by yourself or with other associates. Everybody wants to scramble to that one room, and it's the way. I mean, it's good for you, Melissa, in terms of sales.
Right. Well, and not to mention, I mean, me personally, and I think Jordan too, I mean, with the digital refractor, you're on the tablet. And I know I've told you guys before, I have shoulder pain still from refracting, you know, and I know, Jordan, I think you had back pain. So, I mean, using the tablet just helps, you know?
Yeah, there's definitely the end of day comfort and everything else with that is it's night and day from reaching over and leaning on over, you know, and just kind of that feeling you get in your neck and upper back from all day sitting there repeating 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s.
It definitely keeps your gout score down.
Yes.
And, you know, one other thing that I've learned now after a series of these webinars, I've now spoken to several people who do actually, or have had to replace a tablet, but again, you use a standard tablet for this, so it's not some strange proprietary thing. Those are Android tablets, right? So very easy to get and replace.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jordan blew one up, and he sent somebody up to the office to pick one up. But yeah, somebody who's like out where you are, Adam, I mean, you could always just buy one at Best Buy, and we could dial in and put our software on it for you, so you don't have to lose time with your patients.
Right.
Yeah, that was the fortunate thing for me. I lost about a patient and a half because I'm so close to the mothership, if you will, and was able to have literally a car ride up, car ride back with, you know, one of my coworkers, and we had their tablet up and running in about 48 minutes.
Wow. You know, one question we got on ODWire, and maybe you guys would be the right ones to ask. People are asking about security. It's obviously like a big thing now, right? It's in the news every day. Because this tablet and some of the systems are internet accessible, how do you guys actually go about the process of securing it? Do people access the systems over a VPN, or is there some sort of other authentication mechanism that you guys use?
Wow, that's a really tech question. I know I can tell you when I'm remoting into a device, like to help somebody, a customer, I'm going in through Teamviewer. Mm-hmm. And we have a licensed version of Teamviewer on all our devices. Security, I think I'd have to bring Lance, my new IT tech guy, on next time I talk to you, and he can tell you more about that.
Right. So Teamviewer makes essentially a tunnel into a local area network. So that's the way you're doing it. So so I think that's what most people would just need to know. So that's great. So you're using a certain product to do it. You don't need to have like a crazy VPN set up or anything else on site.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and our system, you know, again, it is exactly as you said, Adam. It's a local area network. So even if, you know, my Comcast internet goes down, I'm still got everything running, and I can do everything I need to do because they all internally talk. So you're not even dependent on, hey, I have a poor internet connection or this, that, or the other. There's no cloud-based or anything from that standpoint. It's all local area, which keeps it really simple and really efficient.
Right. So as long as your LAN is still running, it doesn't matter what Comcast is doing to you. You can keep running the office.
100%, without question. And we've had that happen many times, unfortunately, with Comcast.
Yeah. Join the club.
Right.
So no, but that's a really important thing to know, because with so many of these cloud systems, we have seen doctors set up redundant internet connections into their office, just because they're so worried about not being able to perform exams.
I've never had to not perform an exam. Literally since the inception of my equipment, I have never had it to the point where I could not complete an exam. So that's been a huge thing. And again, one of my concerns with the technology going in is like, hey, you know, downtime. And you read everybody and they give you all these things. Oh, we have 99.96% uptime, blah, 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 blah. You're like, yeah, sure you do. Yeah, everybody says that. Literally, I have not ever been unable to perform an exam. I've had times where it hasn't communicated necessarily from my record system to and from, but I've always been able to gather data, get data, and perform, you know, the necessary actions. Whether or not I have to write it down on paper, minor details, you know, but I've been able to perform the necessary actions always.
Excellent. So you never had to, you know, tell a patient go home because you were able to do the exams and get everything you needed?
Nope. I've had to tell them I don't have any idea what contact you were wearing last year because I can't access my record system, but sure, I can do your exam today.
Right. All right, cool.
What information gets imported from the device to the electronic health records? Could you put everything in based on which platform you use, or is it only certain bits of data that get imported in and the rest get saved externally?
So I can only speak for the system. We have My Vision Express is who we use. And with our system, the Lenovo folks as well as My Vision Express kind of have to talk to each other and then kind of help come together to I guess if you will, what they want to import and what we don't import. Currently in our systems, we are able to import Ks, PACIs, the refraction goes in there. You can do, and tonometry goes in there. So, I mean, I get pretty much everything off of there. I do not personally import the maps. So again, all the topography maps are not there. They're still stored, kind of locally or on the VX box.
Okay.
But I don't put those into the record system just from the amount of data that it would take.
It's really good.
Well, and I can tell you there's two different ways. One, you can import the data like Jordan's doing, or you can actually import a PDF. So you literally have like 2 or 3 pages that have the images as well as the number data. So it just depends on how people want it set up.
Right.
Yeah, I'm lazy and I don't want to import data. I'd rather just hit a button and have it slide right into the right spots.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, understood. And of course, one of the upsides of consolidation of the different EHR providers, if there is any upside, is the fact that companies that make hardware like Luno, it's easier to integrate, right? When you have fewer targets to integrate against. So I'm certain that for 99% of the doctors that are out there are using a system that Luno is already familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there's certain EMRs that are most popular. You're right. So we all of those we already integrate really well with, and then every once in a while we'll get an outlier, and then usually the companies are pretty good about working with us. So once the doctor calls them and says, "Hey, I want this hooked up," so.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, I guess any sort of parting thoughts for everyone? I know we're going to re-show your webinar again at the end of today, so people can watch it one more time and give it a shot. But thanks for for coming here and sharing again with us. It's been pretty cool. I've learned a lot over the last year about how these systems work, and I'm kind of grateful. I've been thinking about it. Now that the pandemic is kind of winding down, wondering what would we have done without the internet over this past year. Things would have looked very different.
One question I have, being a former Manhattan practitioner, are your people commuters from the suburbs that work near your office, or are the people living right around your city practice?
So I would say we have a combination of both, and that has been kind of an interesting transition. Again, as you can possibly imagine, our volume in our Chicago location is definitely down because we do have a lot of buildings around, a lot of marketing teams and things like that had 200-300 people in an office that are no longer coming in, and those folks would come in. They pop over, easily step over for an eye exam at hey 11:15, perfect, no problem for me, or 2:30, no problem. But now if they're staying out in their where they live, we have seen, kind of a decrease in the volume that's running through, and it's kind of a little bit more of the neighborhood folks. And truthfully, again, we have separated I'm only in one location now, and my other associate doctor is only staying in the downtown location. And some of my patients have been kind enough to take the long trek out to the suburbs and drive through forest preserves, because they have the time and they're saying, hey, I still want to see you, Dr. Jones, but I have no problem driving 35 minutes because I'm working from home anyway, and let's just go see what the suburbs have to offer.
Right.
So,
that seems to be universal. The downtown practices are the ones that have been taking a slight hit, whereas the suburban practices are booming. That seems to be nationwide.
Yep, and I would say that's very, very, very similar to us. And I think that we're about to get back into the throes of it because we're going to hit through the summer. And again, as it is a suburban and a very family-oriented practice, our back-to-school exam period is huge and is a big rush for us. So we'll be hitting into that, and with schools hopefully again, everything back in person shortly. I think more and more parents will be coming in and getting these little ones into school.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Jordan, Melissa, thanks so much for coming on today. And again, we're going to show the video one more time this afternoon. And if we have any questions, we'll send them your way.
Absolutely.
All right,
Thanks, Adam.
thank you.
Bye, guys.